皆さん、おはようございます。先週の3月11日は、日本の東北大震災の10周年目を迎えることになりました。あっという間に10年が経ちました。今でもその時の光景とかビデオを見るたびに心が痛みます。10年前にロサンゼルスの日本人も日系人も他人事ではないということであちこちファンドレイジングしたりとか一生懸命お金を送ったりしていました。そして8年ぐらい前に9年前に私はチャンスがあって、田中ファームオレンジカウンティの田中ファームの田中社長グレーン田中さんをインタビューしたことを覚えております。皆さんも覚えてらっしゃるかと思います。今日はですね、もうあれから10年が経ちました。ぜひとも、グレンさんにこの10年間どういう思いで過ごされたのかお話を伺いたいと思います。グレンさん、nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. Been too long. Been what, over 7 years, huh?
Yes, but every time when it comes to the March 11, I always think about you because you certainly gave us a very heartwarming story in our interview. And I believe you're still doing same charity for Fukushima farmers. Am I right?
Yes, yes. Unfortunately, last year because of the pandemic, we did not hold the we didn't help hold the walk, but we're still funding our farmer that we're supporting over there, Naito Farms, and we're still supporting, I believe, it's 3 college students, 2 at Fukushima University and 1 at the Iwata University studying agriculture. So
I see.
still continuing on, yes.
You know, I know Fukushima Prefecture, you can cut it 3 parts, right? One is Hamadori, one is Nakadori, one is a kind of inner part of Fukushima. So which areas farmers you were helping them?
In the Fukushima area, it was more, I believe, more the northern, where many of the orchards are. So
I see.
Fruit orchards. But
I know your grandparents or great grandparents came from Hiroshima, and what make you feel you want to support the Fukushima instead of other, affected prefectures?
Well, for me, it's been 10 years ago now. But when I first saw the tsunami, my first images that I saw on TV were farmland being washed away. So of course, me being a farmer, even though from Hiroshima history, but still being a farmer, my heart went out to them. And at the time, the OCO, Orange Coast Optimist Club, which I'm a member of, we have over 300 members. So to be able to put a fundraiser together very quickly was fairly easy. And fortunately, we were able to 3 months after the disaster. So March, April, May, June. By June, Father's Day weekend, we put together our first Walk the Farm.
That was quick.
Yeah, so
my goodness,
very successful. We had probably about 300 volunteers, and over 1,500, I think about 1,700 walkers that first year.
Wow.
Participating. We raised about $70,000 that first year.
So when you first time went there, 3 months after the disaster, what was in front of you?
We were able to go. It was about a year after the 1-year anniversary. We visited the Tohoku area, and of course, it was still very, very well devastated. Cleanup efforts were just beginning, but much of the farmland was still debris filled, and many farmers were not able to go back to farming yet. Many of the farmers were older, and so many of them really did not have the heart to start over again. Some needed much help to purchase new equipment and get back to farming. So we were fortunate. We got to see a lot of the area. Cleanup efforts were just beginning, and it was amazing how much progress had happened in a year, but also we saw how much work was ahead of them.
So since then, you have been back, except the last year, Corona virus year, you didn't go. But other than that, every year, you bring the money, you can fundraise here and to help them over there, right?
Yes. So for I think we were there about in 2007 or 8, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and saw how much progress has been made. It was about 7 years after. It was wonderful. It was still there's cleanup efforts still going on, yet the progress, many farmland was being farmed again. People were living back in the area, and so it was exciting. It was joyful, I guess, to see the progress that it
Oh,
had.
I bet. I bet.
But then again, there were still people living in temporary housing, and many people still displaced, and that was sad. But you saw the best. I was able to see the best of both
Oh,
progress that
that's
was
good.
being done, and still the people that weren't able to return yet.
Did you say they're growing citrus over there?
Yes, and in Fukushima, where we visited, that was really difficult. We visited a year after the disaster, and even though they weren't affected by the tsunami itself, as far as their property, with the Daiichi power plant that exploded and the radiation, their disaster was not, you couldn't see it with the radiation.
I know.
They had a problem with it, and they still had to care for their trees. Otherwise, the trees would die. So they had to keep taking care of it. Um, and the radiation problem they were having. So that was really difficult. Um, but they continued on, and they're still there today.
So up until when, do you remember which year that they can start to sell their citrus or products to the people in Japan? Do you remember how it took how many years to?
I don't know specifically, but I know certain areas were more affected than others.
That's
They
true.
tried to get
That's
their
true.
radiation detection going so that they could see how much their product was impacted. But just the stigma of being from Fukushima, I assume was fairly very difficult.
I know. Grandson, couple years ago, the governor of Fukushima Prefecture came to Los Angeles and tried to promote their products, agriculture products. And I remember that was peach. I was surprised that Fukushima produced so much peaches there. And also, he brought some rices, and he said the rice one by one. You know how tiny the rice is? He said one by one has to go through the test, make sure that below the radiation. I said, oh my God. And still, I went back to Japan. I went to my hometown, the nearby supermarket. So sad that Fukushima's rice sack was putting all the way down and the less than half price than those regular rice there. Still nobody buys it.
Um,
You know, I bought it. I even brought it back to the United States. I wish I could buy a lot from them because they make you feel that really work so hard. They will try to make a livelihood. And radiation is one thing nobody really exactly know what happened. But the thing is, our daily life is full of radiation too, isn't it?
yes.
So why, why? This is really sad. This is really sad. But up until now, still people are scared of radiation, and Southeast Asia country use that as excuse, try to block the Japanese
I,
farm agriculture products.
I remember a story when I was there. They told us about a farmer. He went to another town to go eat
Hmm.
lunch, and they asked him to move his truck because his truck had Fukushima license plate on there. So, yeah, it's it's very difficult. It's that stigma, and you
Right.
have to live with that. Yeah.
But I think it's getting better, though. I'm pretty sure. What do you think?
Oh yeah.
You went there in what last year was a Corona year. The year before 2019. Did you go?
I think 2018. I think I went.
2000, was it kind of back to normal?
Yeah, it appeared to. Yes. You didn't hear as much, but I'm sure there's still areas. There's probably people still
Really?
feel the same. It's
Really?
hard to get over it, but time heals a lot. Yes.
Well, I was, I went to Fukushima to see the Daiichi nuclear plant by
Oh,
my two eyes. Yeah, the year before last year, October. And I'll be honest with you. If nobody tells you this prefecture has a, a nuclear plant there and what happened there, it's like a normal. We eat the food there, we drink the sake there, we eat the rice, everything. And people there as happy as they could be, but they worked so hard, amazingly. They worked so hard.
but the
Try
radiation,
to,
it is difficult though. I mean, it's something you can't see, and it could affect you later on, years and years later. So uh, you can see both sides. They're trying to
mhm.
earn a living and trying to put out the best product, the safe product that they can. Yet, if you have young children, you have to be a little leery, I imagine. So,
Yeah, I heard a lot of young family move out of town and they will never move back again.
yeah, they said when a year after when they had to power wash the trees, the bark off the trees
Mm,
to try to get rid of the radiation. And
wow.
yet they said when they did that, the wind blows off the mountain that has a lot of the radiation in the mountains and would reinfect the trees. So it's difficult times. Difficult times.
Yeah, but we ate peaches when we went there. We ate the rice. We drank their sake, and I came back in one piece. I don't know, but I always want to thank you, appreciate you, and try to, you're a Sanse, right?
Yes, Sunset. Yeah.
And basically, Sanse is considered to be American, but I admire you still hold that strong tie with your grandparents, homeland, country people, and it's so precious. After commercial, should we talk about your farm? That would be
Oh,
very fun to talk. Thank
that'd
you
be
very
nice. Yes.
much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Glenn-san, before commercial, we were talking about how you raise a fund and bring it to Fukushima farmers. And I'm kind of curious, do you set up a certain period and appeal to the people in the community to come in and help you to raise a fund and to support them? Or how do you plan that kind of?
In the United States, fundraisers are very common. And so every June, Father's Day weekend, we hold what we call Walk the Farm. That's about
Oh,
a mile and a
yes.
half walk around my farm here in Irvine. We set up different stations where you sample fresh fruits and vegetables. And at the end, of course, we have music and people that food and things like that. But this last year, well, in 2019, we wound up having about 600 volunteers, over 60 different businesses and organizations.
600 volunteers, my
Way,
goodness.
way too many volunteers. We probably only have about 2,000 walkers, but uh, it's such a fun event. Many people
I
want to come.
bet.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. So it's again, it's a mile and a half, about a mile walk around the farm, and for many people, it's we get a lot of Japanese Americans that come out to support this event, and for them, they have a lot of agriculture in their background, in their history, family history, and so coming out to the farm is really it's a very social event for them, and it really reminds them of the past. So they really do have a good time. Uh, but
Yes, grandson, you said starting from June, every weekend or every day?
oh no, it's just the one day in week, the one day in June.
Oh, only one day.
Yes, one day.
Oh, so
And
one day, one weekend
yes, yes,
on June.
yes. You have a
What day?
Saturday of Father's Day weekend.
Oh, okay.
So it's usually, I think, the third Saturday of June.
You sound right.
Yes.
Wow. So you have music, you have food, you have attraction. What else you have?
Tours. So actually, as far as the farm goes, my history is I've always been on the farm. My father farmed with his father. I grew up on the farm with my father, and I went to Cal Poly Pomona, got a degree in ag business. My wife comes from a farm family in Riverside, so when I
Farming
grew up,
family, huh?
yeah, I wanted to be a big time farmer. We,
Oh,
my father grew strawberries and tomatoes wholesaling. And so when I took over the farm getting out of college, we expand. And after about the 8 years, we probably tripled our size and shipping our tomatoes and strawberries across the country, doing our own sales. And it took me
mm,
about 8 years to, I guess, really mess things up. We had a couple of bad years in a row, couldn't get any more money from the bank, and we had to downsize quite a bit.
Grayson, what's the most worrisome for farmers, besides the weather or insects or whatever that is? Is that the worrisome thing for you to worry about?
It's now it's marketing, being able to market,
Marketing,
sell your product. Yes, if you can get
really?
a good price for your product, then you have a very tough time dealing with it. So,
Is that right?
among other things, among there's always insects and pests and weather, uh, but and economics. Labor is expensive now.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance and operating costs keep going up. But marketing is an extremely important part. You can't just grow it. You have to be able to market it and get rid of the product. Now today we're strictly retail, direct retail. We don't do any wholesaling. So we do farm tours, we do entertainment. It's funny. People will pay for entertainment. People will pay for to be entertained, but to
I
pay for
know.
produce and raw product, they really don't want to pay for that. And so, being able to work farm in the city, we entertain people. So we let people come out to the farm and not only be entertained, but pick their own product. They get to pick their own produce, uh, pick their right from the field.
Education to the
It's a
kids
real,
too, huh?
yeah, it's a real novelty, and so it's entertainment and education at the same time. So it's a different approach that we take to it.
Gee, I would never thought of the marketing. Well, any products or marketing is very important, but
Yeah.
still, food, fruits, vegetable is the most essential thing you have to eat.
Yes, but
And why people argue about the price? I'm surprised.
people don't want to. You give people raw vegetables, and they
Uh,
don't know what to do with it anymore. If it doesn't come in a package already to just throw in the microwave,
right?
ready to prepare, they people don't know what to do anymore with raw products. So
Really?
it's a challenge. We have to go back and re-educate them, what to do, how to prepare it, and what to do with this product. So
Well, actually, that's the most precious experience to eat the food, eat the vegetable fruits from the farm, Tanaka Farm. When you tour there, you pick it by yourself, you take it home, you wash it, and eat it. That would be the most natural,
yeah,
thousands of years human beings, what you call that, behavior, right?
yeah. So prior to COVID, we were much of the appeal of our farm was people sampling right in the field, eating a
Oh,
strawberry right off the vine is such an experience, to be able to pick a strawberry that's underneath the leaf that is shaded and cool, as opposed to one sitting out in the sun and hot and warm, has two completely different tastes to it. So. Uh, they'll get to experience
grandson,
that right
yeah. Grandson, do you think this country is kind of sometimes ちょっと too much だね?
now. Japan too. Japan is very popular eating strawberries from the greenhouse and
Yes, yes,
fruits
yes.
and peaches. So it's very
Right.
popular there too. And they're spoiled in Japan also.
I know. I know. Grayson, I realized there are a lot of Japanese strawberry farmers in Orange County, but I realized one by one disappeared.
Yeah.
One has a huge farm in front of a Costco.
And where?
Costco in
Oh,
in the
Costco. Oh,
Costco,
yeah.
and that place is gone. I used to see the strawberry there,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
anymore because
Orange County was huge with many Japanese American farmers
yes,
growing
yes.
strawberries, tomatoes, bell pepper, chilies.
Yes, is that because grandson? I know farmers is a very tough job, hard working job, And maybe if they're second generation, third generation, nobody want to take over, and しょうがないからおじいちゃん has to quit. But
Yeah.
that part, I really give you credit. You are the third generation, and your son, fourth generation, helping. And I heard that you have fifth generation just born. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, it's wonderful. My grandson is 4 years old, and my
So
daughter is
cute.
2, and I
Mhm.
have one more on the way. So it's great. Yes.
Wow. All boys, huh?
Yeah, one girl in there. Yes.
One girl. Yeah,
So
well, girls can work at the farm too.
you talk about the next generation, and actually, my son, when he was in college or growing up, we were having such a tough time wholesaling farming that I didn't want him to be a farmer. And it wasn't until we started doing our agritourism and ag education, dealing with the public, that by the time he graduated college, there was a possibility for him. And so when he graduated college, I asked him to come help on the farm, and
Mhm.
the tourism really took off and was able to support us. So uh, there is a possibility for him. So he's running the farm now and
He
running the
enjoys it, huh?
yeah. So and I think there's an opportunity for the next generation also, the fifth generation, to continue on.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You know, in Japanese saying that children grow up by looking at back of their parents. And I think your grandparents show the back to your parents, and your parents show the back to you, and now you are showing your back to your children. Generation after generation, very precious. And I know it's a kind of hard work, like you said, all kinds of things popping up, but you just have to, overcome one by one.
Yes,
I really give you a credit.
I appreciate it. And with the support of the public, people want to get back to their roots. It was probably a generation ago where almost everybody seemed to have an uncle or auntie that had a farm and they would visit all
Yes,
the time.
yes.
But the generations now don't, and so I feel like I'm everybody's uncle because they come out to the farm and it's getting back to their roots, and that's our niche that we found here in Orange County. So as long as
Wow.
there's a little bit of land available, hopefully my son will be able
I
to
know.
continue that.
You know, with Orange County building and building, housing and housing, they keep building here and build there. And in a way, I really worry about what's going to happen to our farming land. Riverside, the same thing too, right?
Yes, uh-huh.
You
But
probably have been seeing that since your childhood. What do you think?
oh, well, I can't say anything because I like to live here, and where it's good to grow produce, vegetables, and things. It's a good conditions to live in, and it's hard to say, don't come, but again, I like living here in Orange County, so. But I think there's always going to be little nooks and crannies where we can be able to farm. So if we can keep having the public come out and support, that's wonderful for me.
Yes, yes. Because, Los Angeles County, almost no farming land, right?
Not
Am I
very
right?
much.
Right. And good thing is Orange County still has plenty, although housing building, but still, for me, it still has a plenty of land to farm.
Not a lot, not a lot.
Not a
Oxnard
lot.
has a lot. Santa Maria, Northern California. There's probably only 3 large farms that are still in Orange County. A lot of smaller ones like ourselves and Manaceros and Gamboas. So there are some smaller farmers that are able to still, earn a living out here.
Tanaka-san, do you also sell your products to what do you call the farmers market? Every Saturday morning or Sunday morning?
No, we have our own produce stand at the farm.
あ、そうか、そうか。So
So
everybody,
we also have a CSA program where we deliver boxes of produce to families.
I see. Also, Grace, I have another question. Do you offer in Japan, sometimes city offer people a small piece of land and they can go there, grow their own vegetables?
No,
You don't do that?
we thought about it, but people like to come out, and we have volunteer opportunities. So
Right.
people come out and they'll help weed or help plant a little bit.
Right.
And
Right.
it kind of gives them that feeling, but they're not, what do you call it, committed to have to go and take care of their plant all the time. So
Really? I've been thinking of that, and I wish I could have a small piece of land I can grow whatever I want. And of course, I need to have someone to instruct me how to do it. And grandson, please think about it. That will be very fun, very, very a lot of fun. Thank you so much for this week. Next week, I was wondering if you can tell us about your great grandparents, how they in Hiroshima came over here, and all those Nikkei history, if
right.
possible. Thank you so much. See you
So,
next week.
thank you.